Hey there, morning everybody. I'm actually home this morning. I can't remember, I don't think I've done a conscious coffee from home forever. It's been a while. I think I did a couple when I first got back from Mexico, but I definitely haven't done anything from here. And I was thinking about this last night. I came home and was telling my guy that I was going to write this article called So You Think You Know Me. And that's probably what I'm going to write about. That's probably what I'm going to write about today. So just so you know, if you haven't noticed, my conscious coffees and my daily musings normally go hand in hand a little bit. So yesterday I wrote an article talking about, like what us women are looking for in guys, and we, and this whole concept in relationship and everything, and everybody wants a real authentic relationship. Hey, morning, Ron. Everybody wants a real authentic relationship. Everybody's looking for truth, wants connection, wants to be felt, understood, wants all this really great stuff in their relationship. And we've all probably had these relationships somewhere along the line where we knew that it wasn't real, or we thought it was real, and then we found out just how unreal it really was. Maybe it took a couple weeks, maybe it took a couple months, maybe it took a couple years, and then all of a sudden our partner that we were dating just flip shit and becomes this other person, and we're like, where the hell did that person come from? I never saw that person. I didn't even know that this person existed. I know for me, I've experienced that in so many different ways with different people, and some of it takes, hardly any time to discover this other person, and other times it's takes years. Hey, morning Addison, morning Keisha. And I was just sitting there and thinking last night and this morning when I came in, and I was just like, these relationships that are very popular these days in seeking arrangements and sugar daddy and all this different stuff. Now, granted, there's just as much chaos and drama and trauma that can happen in these arrangements where it is typically men paying women for sex. It is legalized prostitution at its finest, and I am not against prostitution, just so you know, because it's the oldest field on the planet, and I'm like, to whatever is right and good for you, go for it, I think that actually that whole area that whole line of work should probably be qualifying for like health care and all that good stuff. I mean, imagine. Because here's the thing. I'll have a man come to me. Now, I've been coaching on relationships for over a decade. And even when I did nutritional coaching, even when I did spiritual coaching, so the last almost 2 decades now of being a coach and working with people, I have had through those years so many people come to me, men come to me and tell me, I'm married, I love my wife, I'm never going to leave her. We've developed a beautiful family, a beautiful life together. We've built a business. We own this, we own that, blah, 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 blah. I really love her. She is my best friend. Love that statement. She is my best friend. We communicate so wonderfully. I can't imagine sharing my life with anybody else. The only problem is we don't have sex, or we hardly have sex. And so over the last few years, now I'm pretending to be the guy, right? So over the last few years, I've kind of I've stepped out on my marriage a little bit, and I hired a couple girls through the years. I've hooked up with some prostitutes. I hooked up with a colleague. I've hooked up here. I'm on this app. I'm on this site, and I'm trying to just find somebody that's stable that I can trust. And and so that I'm not just out there just being around, because I that. Now, here's the funny thing. The wife is sitting at home in this situation. She knows nothing. Okay? She knows nothing. She knows that he wants more sex, but she's just not into it. On her side of things, she's like, yeah. life is great. I got this great house. You know, I'm provided for. I'm this, I'm that. But he really pissed me off here and here and here. I'm just not that turned on to him anymore. I don't want to have sex with him. He doesn't understand. He's pushed my boundaries so much. And she's not vocalizing that. But if I was to sit down with her, she would vocalize that. She would tell me about where he messed up big time and how she's still holding on to it. That's what she would be telling me. She would be telling me why she shut down, why she's a no to him. And he's sitting over there going, well, I just don't get that. That happened 15 years ago. Why are you still holding on to that? Why can't we just move on? I think that if we just have more sex, anything that we got going on that's a challenge is just going to wash away if we just have more sex. I just need to have more sex. I'm so stressed out. And she's going, I'm too stressed out. I'm not turned on. I'm not feeling loved. I'm not feeling understood. I'm feeling like no. I'm a no. And at some point, every woman in this situation shuts the sex down. And this is why we have such a high rate of sexless marriages out there. And then inevitably what ends up happening is the partner that's not getting sex, because this can go the other direction, but typically it is the man not getting the sex that he wants and the woman shutting it down. It is the man that is stepping out and the woman that has clueless about it. So he's not telling her that he's like, all right, I've had it, I'm going to go and step out. She's not telling him, we really need to just work through this stuff, because she doesn't understand that she's holding on to 15 years worth of crap, and that's what's causing it, that she's lost respect for her man. And I can tell you what, when a woman loses respect for you, that is like the worst possible thing on the planet that can happen to your relationship, when a woman knows that she just no longer respects you. It's, seriously, she'll love you, but if she's not respecting you, bad. So the guy steps out. He starts having little flings. He's hiring a prostitute. Now guess what? Oh, what happens? Guess what? Because these people have been married for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, even 5 years, and they're so comfortable with each other, they don't even know what the word safe sex means anymore. So they're out there and they're running around with prostitutes and with, picking people up at the bar, or quickly having sex in another office at work, or whatever. They're just doing this, connecting, because that's where they're starving, that's what they're needing, and they're not even protecting themselves. So they're not protecting themselves. They're just like, well, she seemed like a nice girl, she seemed like a nice woman, she told me that she's not dating anybody, and that she just had sex with you in the parking lot. You're gonna believe that crap, that she's not doing anything, and you just met her and she just dropped it in the parking lot for you, but you are going to believe that she's safe because she seemed like a nice person. Well, she was clean. Well, maybe she was physically clean, but was she really clean? You don't know that person at all. So here we go. It's detrimental, right? There's lack of truth there. We don't know what's going on. There's not been any agreements. There's not been anything. Now he goes and he brings whatever back to his best friend, the person that he has such a great communication with, so much stuff going on. Oh yeah, I can tell her anything except for this. And oh, by the way, honey, now you got gonorrhea, because on my birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, when we do have sex, I'm going to be giving you the best present that you can imagine. It might be a gift that keeps on giving for the rest of your life. Sign me up, right? Because the communication's not there, because the relationship's not as good as what it is. They think that they communicate because they're living underneath a roof, because they're like, hey honey, how was your day? That's not truly communication. That is not it. And then we move forward. Let's take the single person. The single person out there, all you single ladies and single guys out there, and you're dating and you connect with somebody and you go out on one date and you're like, this person's so cool, I really like them. Now you're gonna hold off until date 3 or 4 to actually test out the goods, to make, to just explore. You're gonna go and you're gonna see, just maybe, do I get along with them? How can I, can I really connect with this person? So you go on date 1. It's a little awkward. It's a first date thing. The kiss is decent. One's turned on to the other probably more than the vice versa. Maybe they're both turned on. Maybe they're just like, I don't know. Seems really nice. I'll give it another whirl. So give it another whirl. You go out on another date. You have more connection, more communication, another kiss, a little bit more touchy-feely. You go out on another date. Now maybe you go and you actually have sex. Maybe you don't. Maybe you wait a couple more dates. Whatever your number is, it doesn't much matter. The point is, you have a few dates. You go and you finally get to the sexual aspect of things. You go, you have sex. The sex is first time sex. There's some awkwardness. You don't know each other. You don't know likes. You don't know all this different kind of stuff. You're both stuck in your head a little bit. You're worried about what the other person's thinking. Judgment, criticism, all this kind of stuff is coming up inside of you. So sex is good potentially, but not great. Right? It's not great. But you're like, but you know what? I really like this person. They seem really nice. They're really good. I'm going to go back. I'm going to try again. I'm going to give this a few whirls because I understand that first time sex is just, not that great. So go on, and then next thing you know, you have a couple more rounds of sex. And then inevitably, maybe 3-4 rounds into the sex, or maybe not even that far, because there's plenty of people that do this on the first time too. One person says, let's spend the night. You want to spend a night at my house? Can I spend a night at your house? And the other person, if they don't have healthy boundaries or anything, they may go, okay, sure, right? So then next thing you know, the person's spending the night. Then the next time they have sex, then they spend the night again. And the next time they have sex, they bring their toothbrush. And they spend the night again, and now the toothbrush is there. And now, socks get left behind, or underwear, or a t-shirt, or something gets left behind. And, and then you just carry on. And next thing you know, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And you're really, the person who's leaving behind is feeling like, I really know this other person. Like this other person, I really know them. Now you're on date maybe 10, 12, 15 at this point. You're like, maybe 2-3 months into this gig, and that is it. But man, you're totally turned on to this other person. They're so great. And this is often, I'm sorry, once again, you guys out there, because you're like, wow, I'm getting some. And here's the reality. If you want to get to a man's heart, you go through his nether region first, okay? So that's just where it is. Women need to be penetrated in the heart in order to open up their sex, and guys need to be penetrated emotionally, like really to have that feeling come up from their sex to get into their heart, okay? We are polar opposites in that aspect. And so guys, when they go from not getting sex to getting sex, and women on the front side, we naturally give more sex on the front side of the relationship than we do once the relationship is very stable and steady. We kind of just go, okay, and life starts to take us over. But on the front side, we give a lot more because we're getting romanced. There's more time. We're separating time out for these connective moments, and we're more turned onto it. And so we're pushing life away a little bit to get to know this potential partner of ours. And guys, hey, morning, Christina. And guys Christian. There was a lot of women on earlier. Guys typically go and will jump to that because they start getting sex, so then they get the emotion for their partner going there. And so they think that they know their person. They think that they know this person very well. They're turned on to her, all this kind of stuff. Next thing you know, commitment starts going. Even if they're playing around, they've got other commitments going on because they feel like they know this person. They feel like they know her. And maybe the woman feels like she knows him, so she's okay with it. So they start to get a little bit more connected. But here's the thing. 3 months in a relationship, 2 months in a relationship, that's, number one, not really a relationship. It's not a solid relationship. It's a splash, a flash in the pan of relationship. You haven't really gone through anything with this person. You haven't seen them at their worst yet. You haven't seen them pumped up. You haven't seen how they deal with crisis. You haven't seen them probably in sickness. You haven't seen them go through some struggles, some pain, some trauma, some drama. You haven't gotten into a good, hearty fight with them to see how they actually react or retract in that fight, okay? You just truly don't know. You can feel good about somebody all damn day long, but until you actually do the time and you let that new relationship energy just kind of wash through. And here's the thing with new relationship energy. New relationship energy takes 6 months to 3 years to fully clear out. It is a scientifically proven fact that in that honeymoon phase of a relationship, and we don't have to be putting a ring on it to be having a honeymoon. Honeymoon energy is new relationship energy. It's when we are really turned on. We're very into our partner. We're just courting still going on. The sex is still hot and more active. We're more connective, and we're still pushing life away because of the chemical connections that we have going on. Once that new relationship energy starts to fade and we start letting life come back in and we get back to this normalcy of life where we just become two people living underneath probably the same roof and connecting, that's where you actually meet that other person. That's where you meet the other person. That's why so often I'll be working with couples, and I normally see couples, like I got a lot of couples I see that have been married for 15, 20, 25, 30 years, but the other big bracket of couples that I normally work with are just fresh from newlywed phase. So they're anywhere from 2 to 5 years into their marriage, and they are now struggling, and they're like, well, I didn't know that, this was going on, and I had no idea, and he changed like this and she changed like that, and now we just blah 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 blah. And there's a lot of resentment, anger, bitterness, sadness, codependency stuff starts to really kick in. You start to notice it. There's only so much that any person can handle, but after a couple years you start to just, that edge where you were like seeing them with rose tinted glasses, it starts to wear off, and then you start to see that other person truly. So I normally see a lot of people in that phase, and it gets really, really rocky. Much like a business, if your marriage lasts over that 3 to 5 year mark, you've reached the first hurdle. Around 7, 8, 9 years, normally people get itchy, and they might go do something stupid where all of a sudden one person sets out, because guess what? Now they've spent anywhere from 3 to 5 years not having the sex that they were wanting, not having the intimacy that they were wanting, not having the physical touch that they were wanting, and so they end up into this starving phase, and they go out and they start to find it other places, and communication's not happening. But here's the thing. The topic of this whole conversation is actually, what is the key, and this is dangerous, 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 dangerous. And I see it over and over again. I'm actually communicating with a woman right now. She's been popping me messages. And her communication is, well, but he seems like a nice guy. I think I'm going to go all the way. I think I can. And I'm trying to have this conversation around safe sex with her. And she's just not getting it. She's not getting it. I'm like, you are putting yourself into a danger. Yeah, but I've known him for a couple months. Really? Yeah, he's a married man. So, he's safe. He's a married man. He's safe. Well, he's talking to you, and he's trying to push you on sex. So who else is he talking to and trying to push for sex? What about this safe sex thing? There's more than pregnancy on the table when we talk about safety. It is actually more about disease than it is about pregnancy. There's this morning after pill thing that you can take, which can nip the pregnancy in the butt for the most part. I wouldn't recommend doing it frequently, but it is there should an accident happen. Now the other stuff, some of that stuff is, a gift that gives for a lifetime. Others, it takes a couple weeks to move through, and it's going to make you feel like crap. That's if you actually are aware that you got it. Okay? There are some of those things out there that you can carry with you for years, and it'll wreak havoc on your internal organs, and you won't even know about it until it's too late. Yeah, like chlamydia and gonorrhea, that kind of stuff, it takes a while for it actually to show. It can be in your system for a long time. You may be passing it off to every single person that you come in contact with, and you don't even know. So, if you think you know the person, think again. Think again, because you don't know that person. Even if you're living underneath the same roof with them, I guarantee you, even if you're living with them, and it has even been 10, 15, 20 years, you still don't know that person. It is absolutely detrimental to your well-being, to your safety, to your life, to your relationship, if you start to assume that you know the other person. I don't care how much you think you communicate. You don't communicate properly. You don't communicate well enough. There's still stuff that you don't know. And here's the reality of that. You're never going to know the other person, because we're constantly evolving. We're always changing. We're always growing. And we're never really truly know somebody. You can feel like you feel connected to them. You can feel like you know them. You can feel safe with them. You can love them and appreciate them and respect them. And it's all beautiful. But the whole concept of, I know you, therefore I can just assume this, is wrong and dangerous. So, so dangerous. Assumption is a very dangerous thing. No matter where you're at in the relationship, assuming is going to kill the thunder of the relationship. It's just going to mess it up. Never assume that you know your partner. Always look and inquire. Always ask about details. Take curiosity into with your partner and actually go and explore their new grounds, because every day is a new ground with your partner. That person is a new expression of themselves. There's something different. There is something going on. It might be mental, it might be emotional, it might be spiritual, it may be physical, it may just be dreams and goals. But if you're not communicating, if you're not connecting, then you don't really know that person. And if you're not having sex, realize this: if you are in a committed relationship, your commitment level goes to about the degree that your sex is happening. And I can tell you what, and I'm not trying to put pressure on all the ladies out there who are like, you just don't understand, Kendal, da 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 da. I'm not saying have sex if you don't want to have sex. Absolutely don't force yourself to have sex if you don't want to have sex. Get the fucking help so that you can figure out what is causing you to not want to be with your partner. Get the help to clear that stuff. That's what therapists and coaches are out there for. That's what I do. I know that that's what other coaches out here do. We help people move into better grounds for themselves and to heal that stuff. Because if you are not, you cannot expect, and I don't care what your spiritual beliefs are, because I can tell you what, 90% of my clients are strong, hardcore Christians, okay? 90% of them are strong, hardcore Christians with very strong belief structures around that, and they will stand in church, and they will pray, and they will do this, and they will hold their beloved's hand, and they will swear on the Bible that they're not doing anything, and then they walk in my office, and the truth is told. I have a black book, yay big at this point in time, on all these beautiful people out there who have just reached their max of starvation and they can no longer take any more. So, if you are in a sexless marriage, you might be the only one in the sexless marriage. More than likely, you're the only one in the sexless marriage, because if your partner's been asking and craving and hungering for it and starving, and you think that that's okay and that that's just the way it is, just know this: then they're probably not in a sexless marriage, or you soon will find out that they're not in a sexless marriage, or maybe you'll never find out, but they will be off in something else, and they might remain married to you because you're their best friend, and you've built all this together, and blah, 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 blah. I couldn't leave him for whatever the freaking reason is. Often children and finances are the top two priorities, and what other people will think. But if the sex is not happening, if the connection, if the communication around that, if there's a lot of bitterness and resentment around that, then chances are somebody's doing something. Just saying, okay? And the big thing that you need to realize is that that means that you really don't know your partner. You really, really, really don't know your partner. And it's time to get some truth telling. It's time to do some excavating in your relationships, digging in there and finding out what is going on, and digging into yourself. You've got to dig into yourself, and you've got to explore your depths and get authentic, get true. Because if you are just there for your partner's paycheck, if you are just there for the stability that they are providing, if you were just there until your kids get into college or graduate college, if you were just there for those reasons, if you were just there for oh, well, there's somebody to come home to, at least I'm not sleeping in a bed all by myself, realize that you are basically prostituting yourself out in some fashion or form. Now you could say, yeah, but Kendal, I don't give that sex up, so I'm not prostituting myself. But you're giving your life up. You are not living, you are not thriving, you are not allowing your partner to live and thrive either, because you are so caught up on your house, your car, your travel, your investments, and all that other stuff. Is your relationship just some casual expression of exchange, financial? Is that what your relationship is? Or is there really truly love and connection there? Really get real with yourself. Ask yourself those questions. It's really important to get real and truthful, and also realize that you do not know your partner, and they don't know you. So break it down, get some authentic relating going on, step out there into those edgy grounds, and if you don't know what to do or how to do that and go, wow, that sounds scary as fuck, I'm not going to talk to him about that, I'm not going to talk to her about that, well, then it's time to reach out and get a little bit of help. Reach out to somebody that can assist you to have the tough conversations and support you in creating the boundaries, the grounds, and the inquiries that you actually need to rebuild that loving relationship and thrive in your marriage, in your relationship with that other. Then if you're a single person out there and you're like, wow, that just sounds too hard to do, I'm not going to talk to somebody that I just met about sex. If you're wanting to have sex with that person, you should talk to them about sex. You really should. Like, it's serious. It's serious stuff in so many different ways, and not just with the safe sex stuff, but you should be talking to them about what your likes are, what your dislikes are, what your hopes are in having a sexual connection with them, like allow yourself to express that kind of stuff and get real and relating and let your truth be seen a little bit more, because the last thing you probably want at this part in the game is to get 5 years down the road and realize that you have been sleeping with a total stranger this entire time, somebody that you don't even like or that you're not even turned on to in any fashion. So make sure that you get real, and never, ever, ever assume that you know somebody else, because you don't and you never will. But the inquiry will definitely help to open up your heart and build that connection. So if I said anything in here that was helpful to you, that made you go, well, fuck, yeah, share it, even with my F words in here, my F bombs that I love. Share it. There's, I know you know somebody who probably is guilty of this, who, it might be you, it might be your partner, it might be your bestie, it might be your sister or your brother, or somebody at work. Get this message through to them. Share, and definitely make your comments in here. I love seeing your comments. If you're catching this on a replay, make sure that you let me know that you are coming in on the replay on that. And announcement, Addison, Bella, and I, if you are local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, if you are a single man and you think you're sexy, you think you're not sexy, you're like, how do I get into a relationship? How do I get me some of that? What do I do to attract? What are women really looking for? I keep attracting the same woman into my life over and over again. Why? Don't want crazy attracted into my life. Whatever that might be. If you are a single man and you're just really trying to figure out the dating game, well, this is your opportunity. So Dallas-Fort Worth people, or any gentleman that can get your butt here for September 21st, I believe it is, Addison, Bell, and I will be doing an Only Sexy Men Need Apply dating workshop here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is limited seating. We are going to be going through how to set up a proper profile, the things that women look for, the things that we find sexy and attractive. And it's not how tall you are or what your face looks like or how, brawny you are or not. Granted, those things are beautiful cherries on top of the sundae of sexy, but they are just that. They are cherries on top of it. Sexy is a feeling. Sexy is something that just makes us hot inside. It is this feeling. Earlier today, I was having a conversation, funny enough, like if you were dating me, this is the conversations you'd be having. I was making breakfast for my guy and we were talking about friends with benefits. And he's like, he's not understanding like what is friends with benefits, and we're having this whole conversation. Sorry, Steve, I'm throwing you under the bus. Beep, 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 beep. You get thrown on at lives and everything. But when we were talking about friends with benefits, I said, that's kind of like my relationship over here. Like, I have this relationship where this person, I absolutely adore him. I love him. We even tell each other that we love each other. Just looking at him makes me smile and happy to, like if he hugs me or kisses me, holds me, I just feel all warm and safe and comfortable and everything. And it's this beautiful, beautiful relationship. It's so clean. It's so perfect. I love it. And we are truly like, I'm like, this is a person that I can see in my life until the day that I die, us being friends. Like, we are just like, we talk about all these really cool things. Some things deep, some things surface, all this different stuff. And all these years of knowing each other, our relationship has bounced from friends with benefits to just straight up friends. It's very clean, it's very detached, but at the same time, it's deep and it's authentic. It's deep and it's authentic. And I like that there's so much purity and beauty in the deep and authentic version of that. And unfortunately, that's sometimes the relationships that get that, where on the other hand, we get into these rigid relationships where we're just with somebody and we stop talking about stuff, we stop sharing, we stop inquiring, and we don't have this vulnerability and this surrender with each other. Now, so you one of those single guys out there that just getting a little bit of friends with benefits. You think it's friends with benefits? Is it just a booty call, or is there really truly friendship there? Is there turn on there? What is turn on? For me, this particular other person, whether it is a friends with benefits relationship or it is just our friendship that is coming through, I find him an extremely sexy man, completely sexy man, because he rocks my world energetically. He rocks my heart because he makes me feel just really good. His confidence, his joy, his playfulness, his big, beautiful smile, the way he looks at me opens up my heart center and makes me feel warm and good. And that is sexy to a woman. When we feel ignited, when we feel adored, when we feel worshipped and turned on from that means that man is rockin' sexy. And it does not matter how tall he is. It does not matter what he's got going on with his body. It does not matter how much money is in his bank account. That sexy comes from a feeling. That sexy comes from a connection, and it comes from his confidence. So you want to learn about those traits and more as to what sexy is. Make sure that if you are a Dallas-Fort Worth single guy, that you get your butt to Only Sexy Men Need Applied Dating Workshop that Addison Bell and I are teaching on the 21st of this month, so that you can learn what this guy that I'm talking about has that maybe you could have too. Okay, everybody, I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee coming to you from somewhere in the Dallas area, because I'm not off anywhere until Belize. Addison and I are off to Belize in October. Woo! Girls trip. We'll be teaching an awesome class there that we will be announcing in the next few days or a week or so, that we'll be teaching from the beach of Belize. And I don't know, I think we're renting a golf cart. I heard her say, like, we're going to be doing live streams from the golf cart and all that stuff, whatever. October 11th we'll be there playing around in Belize. But yeah, I will catch you tomorrow, not from Belize, not from Mexico, not from Jamaica, not from Punta Cana, not from any place that I've been in the last year. I will just be doing a live stream right here from sweet Texas, my home. And I will catch you tomorrow then. I love you. As always, stop existing, start living, and take the time to really, truly get to know the people in your life and realize that even though you think you know them, you don't. I love you guys. I'll catch you tomorrow.